and welcome to this week's edition of Hitting the Headlines with me, the headline maker, Kurt Cooper. And as you can see here, I have already been joined on the chat by this week's guest. I am joined by Mr. Soft Classic White, Steeky. How are you, fella?
I'm trying to get some promotion going here, so you just better keep pushing that. You know I'm good. How are you keeping, big man?
I'm not too bad at all, chap. Not too bad at all. And I'm also joined this week by Skye James. Skye, how are you there?
I'm good. How are you, mate?
I'm not too bad at all. Ready and raring to get stuck into this week's podcast. Now, before we do, Skye, you have been involved this week with the Out in the Ring collective on Twitter and on social media as part of their We Speak Out. In fact, what actually was it that you were a part of with them?
Basically, Out in the Ring, they're making a documentary at the minute about LGBT wrestlers in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like crowdfunded, so the stream was to raise money for them to finish the documentary, as well as some of the proceeds was going to a charity called the Matthew Shepard Foundation. Cool. Fights for equality over in America. It was founded by a parents of a fella called Matthew Shepard, who was unfortunately killed in a hate crime. It was a horrible hate crime. He was basically like tortured, and when they found him, his face was that bloody that, you know, there was only like the tears, like where his tears had been is the only bit that wasn't red on his face. So like the money's definitely going towards a good cause.
Good stuff. But, how did that all sort of take place? How did that all come together?
Well, they decided to do it, and they reached out to me. They also reached out to Bobby, who featured on it as well, at a different time slot. So my time slot, there was Bro Killer and Mr. Grimm and a guy called Benjamin from England. All really nice fellas. Mr. Grimm was talking about how he'd been on AEW Dark recently and all.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, and we're all kind of like talking about our experiences in wrestling. We took a few questions from people because it was in a Discord server, so it meant that anyone that had kind of bought a ticket could interact with us by asking questions and stuff. But it was really fun and it was really interesting.
Cool. And do you know how much money they had raised on it by the time it was all finished?
No, I think they're still raising money for it now. Letting people like donate stuff, and I think they might still be auctioning off some items that were donated, because I know a few people not involved in the stream did donate stuff. Taya Valkyrie from who was, you know, Impact, and Sonny Kiss and stuff. I know they donated.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Pretty good.
It's good to hear that sense of community within the LGBTQ plus wrestlers is live and well at this time of year. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the main headlines of the main headlines that I've found anyway over the last week in wrestling. So the first headline we've got this week is to do with AEW, and that headline is GTS or GTF. With Kenta entering the forbidden door, how many manies is too many manies when it comes to stars from other companies turning up on All Elite Wrestling? Now, Steeky, last week on AEW Dynamite, at the very end of it, Kenta, formerly Hideo Itami in WWE, made a shocking appearance at the end. The GTS that shocked the world, as it was called, although it wasn't the best delivered GTS that I've ever seen.
No.
What were your thoughts when you saw that he was turning up, along with the likes of Gallows and Anderson in there? Obviously, John Moxley's got his New Japan stuff on it as well. What have your thoughts been on how AEW have handled, or how frequently they've been bringing in stars from other companies?
It's pretty good for their promotion, I would say, that they can try and spread out, because most of their people are from other companies. But like, I'm not a big fan of AEW, to be fair. Some of it's good, some of it's awful, some of it's bad. Like I watched the start of that show, the Tag Team Battle Royal,
Yes.
And see, after watching the Royal Rumble, it's like chalk and cheese. Like, it was just, you're watching. There just seems to be a lot more mistakes in AEW. I know it's a bit more raw and a bit more new, but yeah, like having Gallows and Anderson and stuff coming in, and having Kenta, it's a bit weird that seems to be all ex WWE people who are in different promotions coming in, rather than actual, like, if it had been like Tanahashi or someone like that from New Japan, like, obviously I get why, because Kenta and Moxley are having the rivalry for that IWGP US title, like, but outside of that, it's like, I don't know. It seems to be people that like Cody and stuff are mates with, seems to be the ones that are coming in more often.
Well, we all kind of thought, you know, when AEW started off and started up, until they got the Lone Stars established, there would be a heavy reliance on the ex-WWE guys, like Moxley, like on like Pac, Cody, obviously, as well. But have you been surprised at how many guys have actually made that jump over as soon as they've been able to? And do you think that it is benefiting AEW any having all those big names?
I actually think it's benefiting all of wrestling that they have big names, because it's probably better for WWE. It should be better for WWE because they have competition. So like, if they're not using somebody properly, that person has an alternative place where they can go make the same money and do everything else, rather than, you know, like TNA and going to Japan and stuff. It's not as frequent unless you're living in Japan. Obviously, the money's probably still the same, but like outside that, like, they have made some new stars. I'll give them that one. Like, I like Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy's pretty cool, and I like Darby Allin. MJF's not as good as he thinks he is, but he's still pretty good. And then you have
hear a lot about Sammy Guevara.
Sammy Guevara I think is a much better performer than he might be one of the best. Orange Cassidy too, like, for somebody that can get over being lazy, is inspiration. I will admit that.
Well, all three of those guys that you've mentioned there, you know, MGF, Sammy Guevara, and Orange Cassidy, in some way or other, they have benefited from being affiliated with Chris Jericho. Obviously, you've got Guevara and MGF now as part of the inner circle. Jericho had his feud over the kind of the autumn with Orange Cassidy as well there. But do you think that those guys, and including Jungle Boy, Darby Allin as well, do you think those guys would be as prevalent within the company if they hadn't been getting the rub from the more established guys?
I'd say Darby Allin and Jungle Boy. I actually say probably all of them. Probably the only one that wouldn't be is Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy showed in them matches against Pac and against Jericho that he can work a proper wrestling match, rather than just him being his goofy self, which he's a pretty good wrestler when he wants to be. His matches with Jericho were a bit sloppy, but like, his match with Pac at Revolution was pretty sweet, like, so.
It was awesome. And I think, you know, because of the character and the stylings of Orange Cassidy, that whole gimmick, it probably does have a bit of a shelf life. I think once crowds are back, it'll kind of come back up again. But you know, it's just how far can they push him doing that same thing every week? I know they've kind of added some things into his repertoire and whatnot, but is it something, you know, if it was WWE, for example, do you think they would be absolutely hammering that into the ground until
it would be done in about 3 months in WWE, and then he'd be on?
Like, there has been like certain gimmicks that I think, and you know, in WWE that got over really well for years, but like Brutus Clay, like, I remember when I was younger and he was doing his Funkasaurus thing, like, it was super over, and then Fandango was super over at one point, because I remember you couldn't even go anywhere without hearing his music somewhere. But like, just when you're doing the same thing, it can get old after a while, and I think, we'll see what he does next, because
I think AEW have been smart about it, because
how he's going to ever keep it fresh, or what will he do when it expires, when people start getting bored of it.
I think AEW have been smart about it, because he's not used every week in a high profile segment, or he's not wrestling every week. He might be there at the side. He gets beat up quite a lot, which is, you know, what he should be doing whenever it happens. But yeah, like it's not. I don't know. It's one of those gimmicks. He's had it for about 3 years on the Indies as well too. So it just depends. He shouldn't be one of the ones carrying the show.
Yeah.
Do you know that he should be? He could be there carrying the show, and then because people could always underestimate him just because of his sloth style, but he's not going to be a AEW World Champion or TNT World Champion. He might be tag team champion.
I could see them putting the TNT championship on him at some point. I could see them doing that.
I don't know. I'm assuming they want that to be the workhorse title, just by having it with Cody and having it with Brody Lee and then having it with Darby Allin now. So I think it's going to be like their version of the Intercontinental title more than anything. So it's going to be the one that they're going to try and push the workhorse on. And I don't see Orange Cassidy having any longevity as a world champion. He could win it maybe on the one night thing and lose it the next night. That might be the only way, but it's not going to be.
You know,
tag one, yeah.
You could easily see him as a tag champion there.
Tag champion, yeah. It just depends. What is it? Chuck Taylor and
Chuck and
what's his face?
Trent
Beretta.
That's the one, yeah. Now the other thing I was going to say there, Skye, you may want to come in a wee bit more on this, but of the wrestlers that AEW could potentially bring in, the one that's sort of being touted just now, although if you believe some of the dirt sheets, there's absolutely no interest in her, which I find shocking, is Zelina Vega, Trinidad. Her non-compete is up.
I honestly think, I think that every promotion out there should be jumping on her right now. I honestly don't know why WWE released her. I think it was very stupid of WWE to release her because she has a lot of potential because she shows she can do stuff in the ring. But she's also been a very good manager because I remember before Andrade was put with her in NXT, he wasn't really as over as he was whenever she was with him.
She got him some serious heat, like, to be fair.
She did. And she's got the look, she's got the talents, she's great on the stick. And if you've seen Fighting with My Family as well, she does a great impression of AJ Lee as well. And so she's versatile. You know, she could bring so much to that women's division in AEW as well. And
AEW
I've said to you before, Skye, like
they need established girls.
The women's division's awful. Like,
I'm not saying that the women's wrestlers they do have as bad. It's just I think they need they need someone to come in and kind of spice it up a wee bit because at the minute, like WWE, if you look at their girls, you know, an AEW one, there's no comparison there. Even
AEW are booked like old SmackDown women. They're like back before the Divas Revolution, as it was called, as it was dubbed, or the Women's Revolution, whatever they dubbed it as in WWE. AEW matches are just, see when an AEW women's match comes on at the minute, unless it's Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, or it's the NWA title, which they're using because they try and have more female women on. Like, they don't promote their own women well enough. Like, it's
you barely even hear like with WWE, you hear about the girls constantly. Where with AEW, you don't. I mean, even Impact seem to be doing a lot with the girls at the minute.
Impact's women's division's amazing too. Like, the fact is that they're using Impact for Nick Dawn Callis and the Good Brothers. Whenever you have all the women that wrestle for the Impact who could easily come over and help improve the women's division in AEW. Because
even like, you know, Tennille Dashwood, she would do fantastic, I think, at, you know, spicing up like AEW a bit because she was fantastic, I think. Well, I think she was very underrated in WWE as Emma.
Yeah.
Because I think like what really kind of kicked off like women's wrestling, especially in NXT, was whenever her and Paige would have the matches.
Yeah.
And
so I think they definitely need a girl in there to kind of make the women's division more established so they can put on like better matches. And you know, the women they have there, if they have, you know, girls like Tennille Dashwood or Taya Valkyrie even, who, you know, was recently left Impact, you know, that could help, you know, the stars they already have make good matches. Like if you picture Taya Valkyrie versus Britt Baker, that would probably be a fantastic match.
Yeah, I think that's what we'd like. I know that we'd spoken in a previous podcast, Skye, and I said that I didn't think the AEW women's division were ready to be on television because not enough of them had that television experience. You know, it's great going and seeing them in the indies and whatnot, but when you're putting on a television product, every flaw gets highlighted. And I think, you know, as you say, bringing in women that are established, you like, so your Tenille Dashwood, Taya Valkyrie, Zelina Vega, Trinidad, however you want to spin it, I think those would be great additions. Now we're going to move on to the second headline here, which is back in the realms of WWE, and that headline is Chamber of Horrors. With the negative backlash to the Raw Elimination Chamber announcement, has WWE killed the push that some of its newer stars deserve? I'll come back to you first on that, Skye. Looking at the...
I actually think there's kind of like a real problem at the minute where WWE seem to be putting the focus on guys that are kind of probably going to be coming to the end of their career soon. Because I was actually looking at the age of the guys in that match, and do you know Drew McIntyre is the only guy in that match under the age of 40.
Wow, that's
I under 40.
I thought the Miz was maybe like 30.
I thought the Miz was 30.
He's only recently turned 40.
Right, there you go.
But Drew McIntyre's 35 at the minute.
Yep.
But like, you know, even in the Royal Rumble, a lot of the guys in the Royal Rumble were older.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you like look at that compared to even the girls' Rumble, the girls, they still have, you know, a mix of younger, you know, girls that they can build up over the years. But at the minute, you don't see a lot of the guys that they are even trying to really build up that are younger, that are, you know, gonna be useful in the future.
I think the thing that a lot of people are angry about is, you know, there was so much fanfare about Keith Lee coming up to the main roster. And, you know, it looked as if they were going to rocket strap him and turn him into something great. And he's kind of fallen by the wayside recently. They brought Matt Riddle up. He's had a so-so run of it on SmackDown and whatnot now that he's on Raw as well. So I would have been expecting to see those two in there. You know, there was rumours that Big E was going to be getting a massive push at some point. You know, Big E would have added at least a wee bit of diversity into the all-white Elimination Chamber as well there. So, you know, those are the guys that I would have expected to see in there, but obviously Vince is going a different way with it.
I would have liked to have seen Big E there because I liked what they were doing with Big E, and it's kind of unfortunate that they're not doing that anymore. And I'm probably going to be a bit of a hypocrite here, but for diversity, I would have loved to have seen Cesaro actually get a push.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is only the Raw ones that have been announced so far, so I don't know if SmackDown's going to have its own Elimination Chamber, that they're going to do that. I mean, that'd be a bit overkill because we usually have
I think they did one last year,
But all of the... Yo, you go, Steeky.
Yeah, I don't see who else. Like, I can see the way you're doing Keith Lee and Riddle. Like, they're in that US title picture at the minute, both of them now. And I think they're doing a triple threat Elimination Chamber. Bobby Lashley, Keith Lee.
Lashley again. Lashley's a guy that could easily be put into that as well.
I think what's going to happen, if you're looking at it, because Matt Riddle isn't beating Lashley, and I think Matt Riddle's just... I don't like Matt Riddle very much, but I think this Elimination Chamber match, he's going to take the pin or the submission from Lashley after Keith Lee is about to win the title, and then you're going to get Keith Lee getting pushed into a big picture against Lashley, and Bobby Lashley's been unbeatable since he's been US champion. So like when Keith Lee dethroned him at WrestleMania, that's what I could see happening, which will be a big pop for Keith Lee's first singles title. And they're pushing the US title quite heavily at the minute on Raw as a big title because it's on Lashley's waist, to be fair.
Yeah, that's a good bit. I like your thinking. I like where you're looking at with that.
But there's not really many other ones on Raw. Like, Raw is a much older brand for top stars.
Yeah.
Like, So I get like whenever I seen the announcement of who was in it, it made sense to me. Pretty much, I was
Yeah,
like,
it's
there's a couple of
definitely
stories
still
there.
going to be a good match, like, because it
Yeah,
is quite talented guys. Like, you know, the
but
Miz can
like
go, Randy can go. Do you know what I mean?
Sheamus can go, Drew
Sheamus
can
is
go,
class.
Jeff Hardy and AJ.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
the
the,
thing is,
the only one that I think of that six, I mean, whether or not you agree that there should be younger guys or whatnot in it, of the six that are in there, Miz doesn't need to be in there. You know,
but
that's the ideal opportunity to have him not in the match and then do the edge. You know, McIntyre
Miz
retains at the end, Miz comes in, cashes in. You know, he doesn't have
gets
to be in
eliminated
that match.
early. I'd say I can see Miz
And
being
like,
either the third,
he already
like
had
the
he literally has that briefcase with the title opportunity, so I do need to have a title opportunity if he has
Yeah.
one.
yeah, I can see them trying to do some form of storyline where the Miz, literally, he's either going to be the last person eliminated, the second last person eliminated, and then cash in after the match, or he might go out early and they'll forget all about him and he'll come back out. That's the
I think
he's
they'll
not,
put him in the match. You're not going to forget about him. That's my point with it. You know, it's
yeah, but it's like when Rollins had that. Remember the Royal Rumble match, him, Cena, and Lesnar.
yeah.
Whenever he had the briefcase, and he kept saying about how even in the middle of the match he might cash in whenever he has the chance or whatever. If he doesn't win, he's got a second opportunity. It's more
Yeah.
because the thing is, if he goes, like, say the Miz is in first, goes out first, you'll forget about him as soon as he leaves the cage, and nobody will pay any attention to what he does, and he might go under the cage until it's lifted and then cash in.
That's that.
You know, that's it. So I could see something like that. I don't think SmackDown's going to do one because I think they're going again for, I don't know what they're going to do here with Owens and Reigns again because they've already done everything. So.
And do you think that, you know, after what he said on Monday night, do you think that the Edge is going to pick McIntyre or whoever the winner of the Elimination Chamber may be, whoever comes out of that? Do you think Edge is going to go for them, or do you think he's going to stick with the Reigns?
I think he could go for Reigns.
Yeah, well, if he does go for Reigns, Reigns will have to win, pretty much. If he goes against Drew, he could beat Drew because they may think it as a ratings pop for the WWE title. I did see something and I thought it was pretty fun. It was like hopefully Edge challenges Reigns so that when he wins, he decides to get rid of the Universal title and bring back the World Heavyweight title just for himself.
I think that'd be great to do.
They're never doing that. Them Universal titles are just money making gold, so they're too much. It's too easy to make it into a toy.
That is. So are we in agreement then that whatever happens at the Elimination Chamber, Drew McIntyre probably won't be the one that leaves that with a belt?
Yeah, because to be honest with you, see, since the last Royal Rumble, they've kind of been building him up as the guy. Like he seems to, like the past year he's been playing the champion that will fight anybody.
Yeah, I think Drew probably will win it, but you never know because they really want to push the Sheamus rivalry.
Remember, there is Fastlane between.
Oh yeah, there's Fastlane as well too, so they might actually change the title just before then.
Yeah, so like, they could change the title in Elimination Chamber, and he could just win it back from Mania. Yeah.
So the possibilities are pretty much endless with what could happen. Personally speaking, I want to hold it to Mania and then probably lose it then because I just love the fact that he's champion, a Scotsman that was in my sociology class at university at Glasgow Cali, that he's up there as
who's beating him though?
What?
That's the only thing. The only thing I can't work out is who would beat him.
I know.
Like, I don't know.
He's unbeatable.
Whoever beats him, especially if it's a younger guy, which it's gonna do them wonders.
It's going to be interesting to see who it is anyway. Now, before we move on to the next next headline, I do have a wee bit of advertising to do here, so I'm just going to get my wee script. In fact,
I'm doing my advertising too. Soft, classic white toilet roll from Flores, sponsored to me.
Where's I put it? So, About time. Look, take that thing off, will you? I need it.
Oh my,
I need it.
oh my God, there's a running.
What are you doing? You're interrupting this here. You're just going to be quiet. Like, right, you've said your bit. Like, bugger off. Get an advert to right here. Jeez. Honestly, can't get the staff these days. Anyway, so this week's sponsor is actually about a new wrestling television programme that's coming on. So UTV is jumping on the wrestling bandwagon this summer and bringing the Graps back to Saturday nights, baby. That's right, wrestling will be back on terrestrial television, in a way, shining a light on those who are looking to pay their dues in the biz properly and to show up those who think pulling a canvas tight across 20 square foot of steel and chipboard is beneath them. The Masked Ringer will make luchas out of local celebrities as they go the long way round to getting their 5 minutes of fame in the ring. From setting up merch tables to cleaning up cornflakes to getting carryouts for alcoholic imports to being told they've got a spot on the show when in reality they're making sure the curtain doesn't fall down during the dark match entrances, they'll do it all. Celebrities rumoured to be taking part include Julian Simmons, Jim McDonald off Coronation Street, Brian Neeson that used to be the goalie for Carrick Rangers, and someone who really knows what it's like to take some punishment in the ring, your mum. The Masked Ringer this summer on UTV. Anyway, back to the show. Get away, you. Back to this week's show. The next headline, probably the biggest wrestling story of the week. The headline for it is Nia JAX-IE, the whole effing show. After trending on social media for breaking her arse on the ring apron, how do you think Vince McMahon will capitalise on her off-the-cuff cry of anguish? Now, we've only got 2 minutes to discuss this one before we get on to the last part here.
Unfortunately, I don't think he is because I already heard apparently they've already censored it on the
on
playback.
Have
Yeah,
we?
apparently so, which is unfortunate because it's freaking hilarious. I've
Have you
already
seen-
sent Parenzo about 10 memes today.
Have you seen the clip of it where it's Bully Ray saying my balls, and then I can't remember who it is, I think in TNA saying my vag, and then it's Nia Jax screaming my hole, and it's like 6 seconds of literally of just my balls, my vag, my hole over
No,
and
but
over again.
please send it to me.
I'll find it, I'll send it to you. Yeah.
The best one I've seen is the Seven Dwarfs singing hi ho, but it's my hole. It's brilliant. I tried to do one myself. Frightened Rabbit, one of my favourite Scottish bands. They've got a song called Keep Yourself Warm, and
Well, I think I've seen you had it up on Twitter, didn't you?
Yeah, the opening lines of that is my hole, I want my hole, or I'll get my hole, sorry. And then it's you won't find love in a hole. So with my Nia Jax screaming that, I thought I would maybe get a bit of traction on the meme front, but alas, I did not. But do you think that whole thing, I mean, obviously she's done that off her own back, she's not, she's tried to make a meme of herself pretty much, I think. Do you think that's something that's going to help get her over a wee bit more and make people forget about the big botch machine that she is?
No, people hate on her for fucking madness.
I know, like I seen her new finisher or something she was doing.
Yeah.
And you girl, I even watched it in slow motion. It was Steve Isis. I think it was Dana took it, like landed a perfect back bump and like flung her head back to sell it, which was a perfect sell. So the move was Steve Isis, and everyone was like, everyone was giving off about how dangerous it was and how she near killed Dana.
Everybody shits on her, and the fact is that no wrestlers came out and said that she's unsafe to work with. So people on the internet watching her and going, "Oh, she's not safe." How the fuck would you know? Like, listen to people that actually get in the ring along with her. If they come out and go, "Here, I didn't like wrestling her; she's unsafe," then that's different. But
yeah,
man, it's like that. Like I seen that, and people see all the people trying to break it down and being like, "Oh, well, that looked really dangerous. Like she didn't even support her." Blah 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 blah. It's like the supports. She flicks her bum up, so the fact that she takes the back bump, that's all she needs to do.
Yeah, I mean, with pun fully intended, I mean, she does get a bum rap about a lot of the work that she does. And it's maybe just because she's a bigger girl thrown about much smaller girls half the time as well, that it just looks a lot worse. But yeah, I'm kind of 50-50 on her. So there's some things I like about her, some things I don't. But her sense of humour and what happened that night is definitely something that I enjoy. Now, we've only got 5 minutes left.
Lana getting her through a table, like.
Yeah.
We've only got 5 minutes left on the pod, which is less than I was wanting to do this last bit. But finally for this week, we're going to look back at the Titanic Wrestling show from last year. But for, I think all of us was the last match that we actually had. Now, I
had a few after it. I was lucky.
You were lucky enough. Now,
Yeah.
I asked you both to do a wee bit of homework for this, where I was wanting you to book how 2020 should have looked for yourselves or how you wanted it to look. So I'll come to you first, Skye. After level 1, who would your ideal opponent have been going into level 2? Who would you like to face off against?
Well, I would have wanted to go a quest in 2020 to fight all the best wrestlers I could find in Northern Ireland. So I probably would have wanted to start with Rocky Star, the longest running PW champion.
That was me.
Steeky shaking his head. Was that your dream opponent or your next
No,
opponent?
I just thought it was me. That's it. I thought it was because I'm obviously so talented.
And then I would eventually want to get through the roster, ended up fighting Tucker, and then eventually I would want to try and get gold. Now I reckon that the people that the one that would have the belt would probably be JDP, because he's got Tron as his tag partner.
Mm-hmm.
So he would probably be dominating. So when I get to him, I would probably need help. So I was thinking I would need to find myself a tag partner, and I had a few options in mind. I was thinking maybe Tommy Fierce, because in that way I can make him do my makeup for it. Plus, he's kind of shown a lot in training. I was even thinking maybe Tucker, because he's established and he's fought against JDP and beat him a few times in the past. And I was even thinking of, going for Girl Power and asking Miley Grace if she wants to go for it.
So going down that tag route to capture gold, you seen that had been your best opportunity at it in Titanic, yeah?
Well, yeah, if you've got a tag team that is that dominant as Tron and JDP, you need a partner if you're going to go against them, because, let's be honest, they would destroy me. I'm tiny compared to both of them. They would destroy me together.
Yeah, indeed. Now, Steeky, how was things shaping up in your head for after level 1? Where was level 2 going to take you to?
Originally, I think it would have been more tag team wrestling, but I think if I was to go singles wise, I would like to have faced Big Jack Ritter in his first match, so I could kick his head off. It would have been good fun, but he probably would have destroyed me. But it's still would have been good crack just to get thrown about the ring again. I miss it. I generally would take an ass whooping right now just to get back in a wrestling ring. And
outside of guys within Titanic Wrestling, Steeky, if there was any import that was going to come over to Northern Ireland and do some shows with us, who would you have loved to have been put up against?
I already said him earlier on. Orange Cassidy says the fact is me and him could have the laziest match possible, and it would just be great because I could be hungover.
Without sounding too disrespectful, Steeky, I think he would be the ideal opponent or tag partner for you.
Yeah,
we don't let back. He's a horizontal.
Yeah, we'd make money. Like, it'd be great fun.
It was a class. You need to get him wearing a t-shirt of you, wearing a t-shirt of him that's got a t-shirt of you on it. Me. So it's that
it just keeps incepting the whole way through.
Steak
and at the end, at the end I'm just lying on the ground underneath him at the bar. That's all it is.
And outside of Northern Ireland, Steeky, what promotions would you like to have worked for in 2020 as well?
Obviously I would have liked to work probably a bit more for Titanic, just because that was my debut was on level 1. So I'd say that I really would love to have worked for ICW in Scotland. Like, that would have been the dream, or WXW in Germany, just because I've never been to Germany, so that would have been nice just to go wrestle somewhere I've never been.
And Skye, you'd mentioned in a previous podcast you were all set to go to India last year for a show. In your fantasy booking for 2020, does that happen, and is that the only place that you go?
No, it definitely would have happened in my fantasy, but it wouldn't be the only place because I also would have done face females.
You know what?
Maybe I would have stopped off at Ibrox while I'm in Glasgow.
Well, Fierce Females, they have that in the Shed in Glasgow, which is one of the premier nightclubs if you are a student in the city. And, you know, we are still students pretty much in the wrestling line. And at this moment in time, we need to wrap up because my free Zoom call is about to finish. So thank you very much, guys, for coming on. Maybe next time we'll get you on, we talk a wee bit more about Titanic Wrestling further. Steeky's needing the toilet roll sponsorship, so get on that every time you're wiping your arse. Thanks, Steeky. Thanks, Skye. This has been Hitting the Headlights.